Okay, so we're ready to go. Make sure we've got. So today I am interviewing, as part of our Trailblazers Uncut series, the amazing Diane Hannah, who is the co-founder of Herdy's. And I've got to say, I'm super excited because I'm a big Herdy's fan. Um, to be honest, I've just got to think about sheep, if I'm really honest with you, Diane. And I'm just going to put it out there because I'm a great believer in putting things out to the universe. On my list of things to do list is to see lambings, like lambing time, to see lambs
Yeah.
being born. So I know I'm supposed to be asking you about your business, but before we get into that, is that something you've done, Diane, or can you make it happen for me?
I haven't done it actually, but it's something that I'd quite like to do. We have a lovely lady called Mel that works in our Bowness store, and every March she goes over to Wasdale to a farm there to help with the Herdwick lambing. And it's something that, come hell or high water, she'll do it every year, and she absolutely loves it. So maybe we could link you up there.
Please, let's make that a date then, Diane. Have a chat with Mel and see if she can make that happen because I tell you what, I'd really like to do a live on that one.
That would be good, wouldn't it? I'll speak
Very
to her and see
exciting.
if we can get something sorted out. That'd be great.
Totally. So with Trailblazers Uncut, it's where we are talking to real women about real businesses, no fluff, no filters, just down to earth conversations, talking about what it really takes to run a business and the challenges that you may have come across along the way. So do you want to just introduce to our audience a little bit about who you are and how you co-founded and what Herdy is all about?
Okay. Well, obviously, my name's Diane Hannah. My co-founder partner is Spencer, who's also my husband. And we're both designers by background. I spent my working career as a commercial interior designer, and Spencer worked in the field of branding and implementation and graphics and all things 2D, really. And we met originally at college quite a long time ago now. You can tell from the grey hair, but we've always had a real passion around design. And when we moved up to the Lake District, we came up with a concept for Herdy, which is basically a character brand based on the very cute and lovable Herdwick sheep, which is famous to this area. And we now design a range of gift and homeware, lots of other different things like baby wear. We also have another business that deals with natural wool mattresses using the Herdwick wool. So we're all things sheep and celebrating really the best that Cumbria has to offer, and a lovely link with the Lake District. So that's Herdy in a nutshell, really.
Yeah, and I've got to admit, I'm a big hiker. I don't know if you know, but I do a lot of hiking. I'm currently trying to bag the 214 Wainwrights.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
I haven't even counted how many I've done so far. It's probably about 20. So I've got a
That's
lot of walking to
impressive.
do. So yeah, I love Herdy sheep. They are very distinctive when you are hiking around in Cumbria, and they are so cute. Um, and it's just such a lovable brand for me. I think it's one of those brands that makes you smile.
Mm.
And I think that that's lovely if you have a brand that spreads joy. But I'm sure things have not been joyous all the way, because running a business does have challenges. So I wondered if there were any points when you were doing, along the Herdy journey where there were some challenges that you met.
I think we had challenges from day one. We launched the brand at the Westmoreland County Show back in 2007, and the show organisers had put us in right next to the Herdwick pens because we were sponsoring the sheep show, and they thought it'd be a great idea if they located us near the Herdwicks. And of course, it was the second outbreak of foot and mouth, and the government had introduced a livestock movement ban 12 hours before I think the show was due to start. And of course, we were stuck in a field on our own next to a load of empty Herdwick pens, and that's really the first challenge that we overcome. But you know, we got on with it. We smiled. We talked to people. We told them about what we wanted to do, and I think that's that's one thing with businesses. If you look at how many businesses fail statistically, I think it's something like 60% within the first 3 years, which is quite terrifying, really. But I think a lot of that is down to persistence and determination, and perhaps a lot of people underestimating the enormous effort that you have to make to get something off the ground and up and running. I think, just like the Herdwick sheep, really, we're persistent and determined.
It is 3 years. You are right there, Diane. So 3 years is the benchmark.
Yeah. So yeah, I was saying that persistence and determination are critical.
Yeah. So
and
sorry, you broke up a little bit there. So
yeah, persistence and determination are critical. You've just got to keep picking yourself up when you fall over. But we've carried on having challenges. I think that's the thing about business, is it's constantly challenging you. And I think the more challenges you overcome, the more confidence you have in your own ability to be able to solve things. I suppose our most recent challenges have perhaps been with changes in national insurance, changes in the minimum wage. It's tough out there for business right now, but you've just got to keep coming up with ideas and things that keep you connecting with your customers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Diane. That's always been something I've talked about with the women that we deal with. If you get past that 3 year hurdle, then it's like, okay, you sort of made it, but it's not the end of the struggle, because there's always something. And at PinkLink, we're always trying to do things differently, change things up. And you've also got to keep moving with the times, haven't you? Like doing Instagram lives, even though the internet will let you down, and navigating through all of the different ways of marketing.
Yeah.
I'm a bit old school, I'm back in the day, I used to have my records, my LP player, 7 inches with 12 inches. I've always been a printed book girl, but now it's all streaming. The whole world is different, isn't it? The way we access stuff. And I think that in itself can be difficult to navigate. So you do keep having to change things up. One of the things at PinkLink we are always keen on is trying to be more environmentally friendly, thinking about the way we operate, how we source stuff, where it's coming from. And again, when I go to the lakes and I go walking, I always pick up litter if I see stuff along the way, because I think it's really important to try to preserve the area, because it welcomes thousands of visitors every year. So when we're looking at Herdy, what sort of sustainability messages do you have? What do you try to do to think about how sustainable you are?
Well, we decided right from the get-go we were going to be a responsible business. Obviously, we're designing and producing products. We're very mindful of the materials that we're using. Recyclability is a big thing for us, even using recycled materials to make some of our products. It's something that's just bedded into every single tier of the business, really. Back in the early days, we had the idea that we were going to use recycled newspaper to pack the internet orders, and so we asked our warehouse if they could, anybody could bring in newspapers from home, which seemed like a really good idea until one chap sent us an email because he'd ordered a mug online and it had been wrapped in page 3 of The Sun. So we quite quickly realised that perhaps it wasn't the best idea. So then we went to sustainable chips rather than having newspapers. So there's always quite funny stories behind some things. But, ultimately at the end of the day, we, as two designers, chose a wonderful little sheep to exploit its cute characteristics. And we really felt that it was the right thing to do to make sure that we do the right thing. And that comes as, you know, in lots of different forms, whether it's the sustainability of our products, the ethics, where they're sourced from, also giving back to the region as well. You know, it's just part of who we are and part of what we do.
Yeah, no, you've actually answered my next question, because I was going to ask you about one thing, if you could change, you know, if you could go back and change something, but you've just answered that with the page 3. Can I just ask,
Yeah.
did the person actually hold up the hand and say who it was who brought that one in?
No, we didn't ask. It was very.
It was commonplace.
It was very funny, and we actually used that quote from the customer in an award entry that we did for the Business in the Community Award back in 2010, just because we thought it might make the judges smile, and we ended up winning the competition. So it's part and parcel of our history.
Well, talking about making people smile, obviously Herdy's brand is all about making people smile. So how do you use that within the business to try to achieve that for your customers?
We're very informal in the way that we communicate with people. Sally Proctor, who works for us, looks after all of our social media. She's just got a brilliant turn of phrase when she's using, you know, when she's writing and when she's communicating with people. And we want everybody to feel comfortable and part of a community. And I suppose we treat our customers as our wider family, really, and everybody feels like that in-house as well. We're all part of something, and Herdy is that connector. So I think that's what we're just natural, like we are, as you would be talking to your friends or your family, and we just keep that tone of voice with our customers. And we try and make people's day just that little bit lighter.
Well, I've got to say, when you say tone of voice, I can give you an example how I've experienced that as a customer contacting Herdy's. So when I've called you on the phone, and I may have spoken to somebody who said, okay, I'll just see if Diane's available, and it puts me on hold, and then I get the sheep. That's a perfect example of how, by then listening to the sheep barring down the telephone, just makes me smile every time I call you. I actually never call you, Diane, to talk to you. It's just an excuse to listen to the sheep. It's like, I'm having a really bad Friday morning. I'm going to call Diane and listen to the sheep for a few minutes.
Yeah, well, we didn't want that kind of anonymous, cheesy music. We wanted something that was part of our personality. And Spencer, my husband, actually recorded that out of our bedroom window. So we've got, you know, birds singing, we've got the sheep buying, and I think the farmer even comes in on a quad bike at one point. But we just thought intrinsically that's part and parcel of who we are.
And I
It's
absolutely
just one
love
of those
it.
little touch points, you know.
Well, it reminds me very much of, because when we look at brands, you know, you have the drawing, the physical graphic that is the sheep, etc. But then it's about how you bring that to life. I mean, you have the products and everything that we can pick up, touch, and feel. But then when you're interacting with you as a business, that's when you get that on the telephone. That really is really clever how you do that. It reminds me a bit of like Virgin. So whenever I used to get on, because I love the brand Virgin, because I think again their messaging is so strong, that the brand is so strong. And when you used to go to the toilet on a Virgin train, you know, the woman's voice would come on the in the toilet cubicle telling you about, you know, a message from Virgin, which always again was something that made me chuckle. So I think it's really good. I love the fact that you've been able to bring it to life in so many more ways for people to experience with you. So we talked a little bit about the brand. Let's talk a little bit now about being an entrepreneur. So what has been the most surprising or unexpected lesson that you maybe have learned as an entrepreneur? Maybe something you wish you'd known earlier?
I think really the perception for a lot of people maybe who are employed and have got this dream or thinking about setting up their own business, is that the perception is that you have to do things in a certain way. A lot of business is perceived to be quite rigid, and you know, we're very lucky we've got a really fun and lively, fun business, haven't we? But I think what it's made me realise is it's about the fact that it's your own individual journey.
Mm.
It's about what you want it to be. You might be answering a need, a customer need, but it's about how you interpret that need and how you deliver it to the customer. And if a lot of, if everybody did it the same way, it'd be a very dull environment, and you wouldn't get the amazing disruptors that you get. You just mentioned Virgin. Richard Branson was probably the original disruptor. Since that, you've had people like Jeff Bezos who completely turned things on its head. You've got to be very true to yourself, I think, and that's your own individual journey to go on, and that's what gives your business personality and marks it out from your competitors as well.
Yeah, it's very true. If it was as simple that there was one way, somebody had written a book about it. We'd all just do it the same, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
But
that'd be nice. Yeah, with all the answers in.
because obviously as a business leader as well, everybody looks to you, your staff, and your team around you for all the answers. And there are sometimes you just don't have the answer.
Exactly.
But there's always a lot of thinking on your feet. I think as well when we look at entrepreneurship, is there what's one myth, for example, that you'd love to debunk for aspiring business owners? Because I know what my myth is. If I was to tell you, I'm wondering if you've got one.
I think, again, I mean, I look at people who talk about business, and maybe it's very male oriented, but I think it's this myth that you've got to be ruthless.
Mm.
You don't have to be ruthless. You just have to connect in some way to your customer base and give them something that they need. That's the basics, and you can do that in any which way you like. And I think we've proved as a business that you can actually be successful and be really kind as well, and and do fun things.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I always say with Pink Link, I think many people have different goals and incentives of what they want to do in the business. And we've always been very low cost and affordable compared to other networks. I always laugh about it and say, I'll never be a millionaire, but we've made a lot of women happy and successful, by providing the service. But one of the myths for me about being running your own business is that I have loads of time off, obviously, because I run my own business. I will be able to go to the hairdressers whenever I want. I'll just be out shopping. My parents are like, oh, can you just? I'm like, Mom, I'm working. So I think people do think that when you own your own business, it gives you unlimited free time. But I think really the fact is that you actually have to work an awful lot harder, especially in the early days, and even as you're growing. So obviously, as you've grown, how many do you have in your team now?
And we employ around 28 people, not all full time. Some of our shop team are part time, but we're growing all the time, and I think that's one of the things that's really important to me, is that people see us as being dedicated and hardworking. I think you're there to lead the business, and if you're swanning off left, right, and centre and leaving somebody else to do all the donkey work, I don't think that really gets you and builds you a committed team.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I have to do everything myself. Obviously, we've got a great team and we can delegate things. And lots of people in our organisation are far more capable than me at doing things. So, but yeah, I think you've got to be, as a leader, you've got to be really committed to what you're doing, and you've got to be really hardworking. I think we do put the hours in, and back in the early days, we're probably working 80 hours a week. We'd be lucky if we were making minimum wage.
Yeah.
But I think it's that commitment early on stands you in really good stead. And whilst it might not give you that physical freedom, I think being in business gives you a sort of mental freedom in a way, is that there's nobody there saying you can't do that
Yeah,
because you're your own boss. There's nobody trying to put you in a box and constrain you, because it's literally you set the rules, you set the parameters. And I think for me, it was that freedom that was the most empowering thing when I first started on my business journey. Didn't
yeah.
mind the hours, didn't mind the hard work. I think it was for me, it was just really exciting. And that freedom is, it's life changing, I think. And no matter how daunting it is, I would encourage anybody who's got a dream to be in their own business, to start their own business, just to have a go and, be really committed and just go for it, because I genuinely feel that you never look back.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you there because I came from a corporate background. And although I had a really successful career and I earn way more than I pay myself nowadays, but I don't have to. I remember all the meetings we would have about changes. So if there was a change that was going to come along in the business, a new project or whatever, it was like meeting after meeting. And then 9 months down the line, they changed their mind, scrapped it, and they were bringing something new in. I used to think, God, dear, what a waste of time. And I also sort of recall those when we used to have profiling, to get your job.
Mm.
You had the disc type thing, and mine said I was unmanageable. So it's probably a good job that I actually left when I did. But I think there is, a lot of great things about being a small business is that you can be very agile and
Mm.
make changes and implement changes quite quickly. But now with Herdy, you're global really now, aren't you? Let's be honest. Anybody can buy products from Herdy across the world.
Yeah, we have a few overseas retailers. We have been focusing on our UK trade for the last 18 months to grow that. We now have a team of sales agents that look after the UK as a whole. So our next kind of journey really is into building up those overseas contacts and getting Herdy out there. Years ago, when we first started working with Kevin Roberts, who is now our chairman, he always said that brands that are very stable and well known in their home market are more likely to be successful overseas. So his mantra was first take Manhattan, and then you can kind of go out from that. So first the Lake District, and then ripple out from that. But we've just done the spring fair at the NEC in Birmingham. We had a fantastic show. We had an amazing inquiry from a customer in South Africa, customer in New Zealand.
Wow.
It would be amazing to think that Herdy would get out there and be the little cute smiley face over the other side of the world. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's very exciting. I know the spring fair. We have a number of our ladies that go to that
Mm.
each year. When we look back on our journeys as business owners, do you have a time where you can recall something that maybe was the most rewarding moment in your journey so far?
Uh,
Was it
I mean,
selling that first mug or?
yeah, I think there's just been so many moments really over the years. I always say that there's a book in this somewhere, because we have got so many stories to share. Um, obviously winning Business in the Community Small Business of the Year award back in 2010 was pretty amazing. We went to the Royal Albert Hall. We got our prize from Prince Charles, as he was then, and that was pretty mind blowing. But I think over the years, for me, it's been the relationships that we've built. Relationships either with our team here, who are amazing, our customers, who, like I say, are almost part of our family. They're that Herdy community. which has built to actually mean something over the years. We've got fantastic relationships with our suppliers. A lot of our suppliers are now friends. And I think the fact that Herdy, because we've been going 18 years this September, I think people have grown up with Herdy. Herdy's played a part in people's lives. You know, we've had Herdy-themed weddings. Somebody put on our Herdy family WhatsApp yesterday, somebody had walked into the shop and showed a tattoo that she just had done on her arm, a Herdy tattoo.
What?
Amazing.
That's amazing.
I know, and so there's all these little things are so special, really. I mean, give you one example. We had a customer who got in touch because she'd lost her best friend to breast cancer, and she wanted a sticker to go on a camper van so that she still had a friend with her where she went. So we did her and a friend as two paddle boarders because that's what they love doing. And she wanted to know how much she wanted to charge it. And I said, it's free of charge. It'd be our pleasure. And she sent me this beautiful picture this week that she'd done with a lovely message. You know, that's the connection we have. And that's what really, it motivates me to come in the morning and do what I do, because it's just a joy. I mean, yeah, we have some stressful days, and you know, we have the challenges along the way, but it's just those little things that make all the difference. It's not about the money.
No.
I think we would have done things very differently if we'd have just been chasing money. It's never been part of the story. Success to us is that kind of following of the community, people who really connect with the brand. Yeah, that's a special thing for me, I think.
That's good. And do you know what? They always say when you're in business that you end up with the people around you that gravitate towards you. And from what you're saying, you're just one of our crowd. You're in our tribe, Diane. But I am just going to put out there, apart from seeing lambing, I'm just going to put on my wish list a pink sheep with a little pink handbag. So see if you can make that magic happen for me. But when we talk about breast cancer, you brought up the lady there. So obviously you're coming to our International Women's Day event, and you're going to be telling us much more about the Herdy story and talking about the brand and everything else, and the marketing and building your team, etc. And this amazing brand that you have. But on the day, we also will be our chosen charity is Prevent Breast Cancer. And we'll be raising funds on the day as well. So we're just going to make sure that everybody who tunes into this knows about that and how they can participate with raffle tickets and stuff on the day as well. Because for us, within our community, we've had so many women who breast cancer has touched their family. So we try to make sure that we work with them when we can. So we're going to wrap up the talk now, because I don't want you to give away too many secrets before International Women's Day.
Yeah, what have anything to talk about?
No, they'll be like, I'm not going to go. I'm just going to sit and rewatch this video. It's been a great chat. But yeah, please do come and meet Diane. Diane, on the day, you're going to be selling some Herdy products. So what type of things can we look at purchasing from you?
Well, we'll put together a collection of our best sellers, but we'll probably bring some mugs with us and some lovely kitchen textiles, and we might even have some of our brand spanking new products in time for the event. So yeah, watch this.
Great. Do you do like full tea services, tea sets and things?
We do have a tea set, a very cute little tea set. Yes.
Right. Well, I'm excited. I know I'll be getting my purse out that day. I'm terrible. I don't know why I do these events, because I end up spending a fortune.
Well, it's nice. It's nice to buy things that, you know, from people that, you know, you like, people that mean something, and things that mean something to an area as well.
Yeah, totally. So we've organised, because for me it's so important to support small businesses, and so it's great that you're going to be able to come on the day and also sell your products and share the love, making you smile on the day. But we're also working with Pennington's Teas. Do you know Gina from Pennington's?
Yes, I do. Yes, I've met Gina.
Yeah, so I'm purchasing Pennington's Teas to go on the tea and coffee stations that day. So we'll have Pennington's tea there as well, so they can pop that in a Herdy mug. And they've got everything from Cumbria visit for International Women's Day. So yeah, really excited to meet you there. And so for anybody who's tuned in, don't forget International Women's Day is with us this year. It's at Leighton Hall, Stately Hall at Carnforth, which is just on the cusp of Lancashire and Cumbria. And it's Friday the 7th of March. And you can join us from 9:30 in the morning through till 4:30 for a fun-packed day with loads of amazing, inspiring entrepreneurs like Diane here. And we'll also be joined by people who will be giving you media talks on things like how to get on podcasts and how to present yourself, through to being on the TV, on the news, or the radio, and various other talks and topics along the day. So if you'd like information, it will be in the bio on this link. And it's been great to have you with us today, Diane. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
And next week on Trailblazers Uncut, I will be speaking to Ruby, and we're going to be talking about all things periods and period poverty as we look to unveil our new campaign to prevent period poverty with young girls across the UK. So tune in next week. Thank you.